Step on in, pull up a chair. History gets a little unfair. Stories, secrets, all scrubbed up. Welcome to the Dead Presidents Club.
We want you guys to hang out for the duration of this episode because at the end of this episode, we're going to give you a couple of things. One, we're going to give you access to a third-party custodian. If you actually want to set up a self-directed IRA, we're going to give you access to a company that can help you waive all of those fees, and we can actually even help you get that set up. So we're going to give you that information, as well as if you're a new investor and you're looking to learn how to raise capital, this is going to be a great vehicle for that, and we're going to have a special guide for you at the end that walks you through that. It's completely free. Want to make that available to you. So hang out with us, and I hope that this helps you a lot. Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode, Dead Presidents Club. I say it all the time, but money's not scary. It's just a bunch of dead presidents. I have to say that, I realized, because nobody gets the dead presidents thing until I tell them, hey, dead presidents, dollar bills, you get the thing. But hey, I want to talk to you a very specific audience today, and product, if you will. I want to talk about turning your retirement into real estate. And a lot of people, the reason why I want to talk about it is because I've been shocked to find that there are extremely intelligent investors, money people, people even in the real estate space that do not know how or that it's even possible to turn their retirement accounts into real estate. And so that's what I want to talk about today. And I'm not just going to talk, maybe you know this, or maybe you know about, we're going to talk about self-directed IRAs, but I'm going to get into the weeds a little bit of exactly how it works, why it works, and some of the philosophies behind it. And you might find some things that even if you knew about self-directed IRAs, you didn't know about this. And so I'd encourage you guys to hang out with me. And as always, if you can, help me. We're relaunching this. So it helps me a ton when you subscribe, even drop me a comment. If you're a friend of mine, be like, hey, loser, in the comments, that would help the algorithms and things. And so, you don't have to be nice to me. That's the one thing I will say I've learned from our commander-in-chief is no press is bad press. So you can call me whatever you want in the comments. It all helps. For those of you that don't know, I come from a financial services background, really more on the retail side of banking, right? I spent the majority of my adult life working for Bank of America. I ran lots of different teams and departments and mortgage and retail banking and small business and investments. And I did a lot of different things over the course of my career. And that's what I mean when I go, I'm like Mr. Bank of America for the majority of my adult life. I started there when I was 18 years old and worked there for almost 20 years. And I came out of the bank and went into full-time real estate investing and had no idea that you could use IRA, 401k, 403b, pension, all of these different types of accounts that you could use them for real estate investing. I was Mr. Bank of America for the majority of my career, and I didn't even know these things were possible. And that's what I mean. I think the institution has built rules that serve them, but don't actually educate us. And, I joke about this. This has nothing to do with retirement accounts, but I go, it blew my mind as a 20-year career banker to realize that although I kind of knew the answer to this, I never had this thought cross my mind that when I put $1 into the bank, the first thing they do is digitize it and get rid of it. They lend it out. Through fractional banking, through all of these different things, they get rid of my cash as quick as possible. And I had this thought, after I left the bank, got into what I'm in, I'm like, if the bank's not saving my money, then why are they the biggest proponents of teaching me to save money? Why am I not doing what they're doing instead of what I've been conditioned to do? And I think that's what I mean when I talk about the real estate and the, the Wall Street, I call it the Wall Street casino. That's what it feels like these days, right? Nothing about the S&P and the Dow and the stocks, bonds, none of that makes sense to me these days. Now, I know that a lot of people are making a lot of great returns and I'm happy for them. And I'm not saying the future of the market is dead, but I am in a place where I go, I want to put my money in stable, fixed assets that I understand. I remember before I left the bank, I received a packet from my 401k provider. I think we were with Fidelity at the time. And, they send these like quarterly, information packets. And this thing came in like a FedEx box, and it's like this thick. And I open it up and I'm looking through it, and it's just like the most legalese thing I've ever read. It's full of charts and graphs that I as a 20-year banker, frankly, didn't understand. And I worked in investments. I had experience in these things, and I went, man, I as a person with a long career in the Wall Street space am having a hard time understanding this package of information. But you know what I do understand? Doors, windows, roofs. Maybe I'm just not as smart as I thought I was, and I should invest in something that feels much more attainable, approachable, understandable, and gets me out of the Wall Street casino. I know that, like I said, I know that the market's producing well now, but what I love about the idea of converting, and I have since literally liquidated my entire investment portfolio and placed it into real estate. I am almost, we'll call it 98% of my portfolio is in real estate, and my wealth is in real estate. And people criticize that, by the way. They go, well, what about diversification? And I go, well, I think that diversification is just a marketing term that Wall Street developed to sell us mutual funds, but that's my opinion. I don't know what's more diverse about me owning 100 pieces of real estate and you owning 100 stocks in something called a mutual fund. I'm not really sure that there's one that's more diverse than the other, but that's not the point. The point is that I love the asset class because, unlike the stock market, when the housing market crashes, which will happen again, I'm not arguing that real estate is exempt from the market cycles that every other investment class is. But the difference is that when equity comes and goes in the stock market, my only option is to wait for it to rebound. When I have a crash, my value goes down, and then I have to sit there and wait, assuming I don't sell, for the market to rebound and for me to come back again. With real estate, the same thing happens, with one very important difference, that when the market crashes or when equity goes away, the cash keeps flowing. And that is a fundamental difference that, as soon as I understood that fully, I went, I actually don't care, within reason, about what my portfolio is worth on any given day of the week. And I'm not that stressed out if we have a market correction and I lose a percentage of my equity for a period of time, because you know what still has to happen? People still have to live there. Rents still have to come in. The cash flow doesn't go down with it. Now, obviously, rent markets can change. You guys get the point. Equity can come and go, but the cash keeps flowing. And that's what makes it the most stable investment, in my opinion, of any asset class. And that's really where I came out of the bank and I started to realize, like, why am I investing any of my money, let alone my retirement? And I started to discover these tools that were available to convert retirement accounts into real estate. And the crazy part is you get all of the same tax benefits that you receive in your current 401k, IRA, 403b, Roth, whatever it is. And that's what I want to talk about today. So let me set this up and kind of tell you exactly what we're talking about and what the vehicle is that produces the ability to do this. All right, so let's talk about some of these investment vehicles that we're talking about, or what we're really talking about. So what most people do not realize is that you can actually convert certain types of retirement accounts into what's called a self-directed IRA, or really a self-directed retirement account. Just like there's IRAs and Roth IRAs and SEP IRAs and 401ks and solo 401ks. There's all these different types of retirement accounts in the conventional suite of products. There is also a self-directed version of most of those types of retirement accounts as well. And so this is how it literally works. Say I have an IRA or a Roth or an old 401k. I can roll that over just like I would roll over from Edward Jones to Fidelity, or from one employer to a new employer. I can roll those funds over to what's called a self-directed IRA. So if I've got a traditional IRA with, say, $50,000 in it, I can roll that $50,000 into a self-directed IRA with a third-party custodian. Custodian's a fancy word for management company, right? It's somebody who manages the accounts. Fidelity is a custodian. Edward Jones is a custodian. Self-directed IRA companies are also custodians of self-directed IRAs. And you roll that $50,000 into a self-directed account, and now I have different investment vehicles available to me. See, in a traditional IRA, I only have the products available that the custodian allows me, right? And it's typically stocks, bonds, mutual funds, sometimes precious metals, but typically it's a fund of precious metals. The money market accounts, those types of things. So it's whatever Edward Jones or Fidelity or Merrill or whoever offers me, I can invest in. Well, with self-directed, I have a totally different basis of assets I can invest in that are all what we call hard assets. Some examples of that, and by the way, it's not just real estate. It could be precious metals. It could be LLCs and business investments. It could be cryptocurrency. Anything that's considered a physical or a hard asset, you can or an alternative investment asset you can invest in. The vehicle that I'm most excited about and what we're talking about today is real estate. And what you can do is roll your 401k or your IRA into a self-directed IRA and invest in real estate. And it's not just to go buy a property. You can choose a litany of different ways to invest in real estate. You can become a private money lender and invest and be the bank on a deal. You can invest in funds and syndications and different types of pooled assets, pooled investments, right? You can invest by buying your own deals, right? You can buy a rental property or buy a fix and flip and do it within your IRA. But here's the fundamental difference. When you invest in a self-directed IRA and you use that money to invest into real estate or really anything, all of the returns of that investment don't come back to you personally. It goes back to the IRA. And that is like a traditional retirement account. Just like when you invest in your 401k in the stock market and you get those returns, all those returns go back to your 401k. Same thing is true of self-directed. All of the returns ebb and flow from the self-directed account. This is really important to understand because if you're in the place where you're like, well, I want to go buy a rental property so I can start to increase my cash flow or get tax benefits on my W-2 against my W-2 or one of those other strategies, self-directed IRA is not going to help you with that, right? Because all of the benefits and all of the expense of the asset ebb and flow or go to and from the retirement account. But you still receive all of the tax benefits that are associated with that account. If it's traditional, it's pre-tax. If it's Roth, it's post-tax, right? And I should probably say somewhere here in this video that this is just, enough advice for you to go discover. But I'm not a CPA. I'm not a tax professional. You need to go talk to your CPA, talk to your tax professional. Make sure you get all of the information because one thing to understand about self-directed is it is in the name. It's self-directed, right? You have to manage the tax liability. You have to follow the rules of the account. You have to follow the process correctly. The custodian is just there to make sure that the money is managed and directed to qualified assets, but they're not going to give you tax strategy. They're not going to make sure your structure's right. They're not going to protect you or insulate you from breaking prohibited transaction rules. So you really do have to make sure that you're educated on the process. But just to summarize, the functional process of a self-directed IRA is very simple. I take money that's in a current traditional retirement account and I roll it into a self-directed custodian IRA, and then I direct that money to whatever type of investment that I choose. And all of the returns go back to that. I would say that maybe not all, certainly not all, but I would say now the majority of my investors are self-directed IRA investors. A lot of people think that to be an investor, you've got to, be a gazillionaire or you got to be independently wealthy. My average investor is Joe the plumber. Actually, a real investor of mine is, we'll call her Nancy the cashier. I won't say her real name, but we'll call her Nancy. I don't know why Nancy just came to my mind, but Nancy is literally a kind of transitional, like pre-retirement person, older lady, and she, got to roll out some money from an old retirement account, and she was trying to make some decisions on what she was going to do. And she went ahead and decided that she was going to go the self-directed way, and she wanted to become a private money investor or lender on some of my deals. And now Nancy receives a check every single month back to her self-directed IRA. And because she's of retirement age, that self-directed IRA distributes that to her just like she would get from any other type of retirement account. And it supplements her income. And she actually lives off of the interest that she receives from these investments. It's a very practical way. And, like I said, I think it's important to understand that, I can't tell you how many people I've talked to, when I tell them about this option. Like, let me say it like this. I have so many people that come to me and they go, man, I would love to work with you. I'd love to invest with you. I'd love to do business with you. I'd like to do it on my own even. But I don't have a whole lot of money, right? Like, I just am not there yet. I haven't saved up. I don't have equity or whatever it is. And then I tell them about self-directed IRAs and they go, this has happened, I bet 100 times in my career so far, where I tell them about self-directed IRA and they go, yeah, you know what? I think I actually have an old 401k from, ABC company that I used to work for. I don't think I ever did anything with it. And then I go, yeah, you should probably go check that out. And then I get a phone call or a text message a day later and they go, holy smokes, I got $75,000 in this account and I didn't even realize it. It's been sitting in a money market getting 2% a year for the last 5 years. And I just never even thought about it. This is so common because people do not think of their retirement money as active money that they have. I don't know how you perceive yours, but people generally speaking are less aware, present in managing their retirement because they believe one of two things. One, they believe it doesn't matter today. I'll focus on it in the future, which is a huge mistake, right? Because you're not maximizing the returns. Or maybe even slightly better, but still dangerous, is that they just believe that the custodian is managing it to the best of their ability on their behalf. And that's not always true either. I can't tell you, on the other hand, how many people we've pulled up their retirement account and they got $1 million in there that's been getting 3% in a CD, right? That the custodian just decided, and they probably elected it at one point, but they're not paying attention. You have to pay attention. And I'll be honest with you, this is part of the Wall Street casino's fault. Wall Street Casino taught us set it and forget it. Well, people said it and they forgot it, and now they're paying the price. And I would just encourage you to go see what you've been doing, right? You can be producing really good returns in real estate investments completely passively, just like your normal retirement account, and not even know that you're underperforming. So if you're the type of person who's sitting here listening to this going like, hey, maybe I have a retirement account, let me tell you, and I'll tell you at the end of the video, we can actually help you set that up. Even if you're not looking to invest with us or be our lender or be our partner, like, that's fine. We actually have a whole system. We have a partnership with a third-party custodian that we can set you up with and help you get your account set up for self-directed so that you can make a choice on these alternative investments. And we're happy to help you with that. I'll tell you how that works at the end of the video. But I also want to talk for just a second about the person who maybe is watching this that wants to become a real estate investor, but they feel like they can't because they don't have any cash, or they don't have a down payment, or maybe they don't have a retirement account, but they have friends, family, and people in their network that might. And one of the greatest ways that you can start your real estate investing career is by developing equitable partnerships or relationships with people who have good access to capital, but don't have a lot of time or energy or knowledge to put that capital to work in real estate. They might be happy to partner with you. And that's really largely how I started, right? I mean, I had some of my own money to get started, and we can tell that story another day, but the lion's share of what I built has been built with other people's money. And so a very practical example of that is maybe I want to be a fix and flipper and I need $50,000 for a down payment, and then I'm going to get hard money to finance the acquisition and the rehab costs, but I need that $50,000 for the down payment and the interest reserves, let's say, and I don't have it. Well, that's okay. Maybe cousin Billy has an old IRA that he's just been sitting on, and it's, he hasn't even looked at it in 20 years. And you start having the conversation with cousin Billy that he can become a private money lender by turning that IRA into a self-directed IRA and becoming the bridge lender or the bank on your deal. And you can offer him 10, 12, 14%, whatever you guys choose, 8, 7, 6, doesn't matter. Our average returns are about 12% that we offer to private money lenders. But you develop an equitable relationship or even a partnership to say, hey, I'll give you half of the profit. Like, there's no rules to what you negotiate. But the point is that he can take that retirement money, put it into self-directed, bridge your deal, and get paid better than average returns on an asset or on an investment that's backed by a real asset, that's backed by a piece of real estate. And that's super attractive to the average investor who's getting, the average 20-year returns in the market are what, 8%? My average investor gets 12%, right? And I have a ton of investors that are getting 2, 3, 4%. So they're getting triple the return with me, backed by a physical asset. In other words, if things go wrong, they can come and take control of that asset and still have real value in their lives. And so I want to close this with two kind of action items that we have to offer you. The first is, if you're a person who is interested in partnering with me or investing with us, being a private money lender, or just exploring what that might look like, I want you to comment the word invest in the comments below, and our team will reach out to you. We'll set up a call and I'll get on a Zoom with you. That's the one thing about our company that I love, is I'm not trying to be a billionaire, a $1 billion hedge fund and Wall Street guy where you got to go through the phone tree. I want to meet every one of my investors. So if that's something that would interest you, I want to build that relationship, have that conversation. So comment invest. If you're like, man, I want to learn more about self-directed IRA and how to become an investor with my retirement account, I'm happy to offer that to you. So comment the word invest. And if you're on the other side where you're like, man, I'm interested in raising capital through this process, but I don't understand how it works, and I want to start the process of learning how private lenders work, how private money works, how self-directed IRA works, I want you to comment the word guide, and we will send you a private money guide that we've developed that is all of the steps and the process of what a private money loan is. It talks about deeds of trust and promissory notes and title insurance and all of the things that come with doing that responsibly. All right, and one more thing, I did tell you that I would talk to you about the custodian. We have a partnership with the Entrust Group. If you were to Google real estate custodians or self-directed IRA custodians, there's a million of them out there. There's nothing special about one over the other. Really what it comes down to is pricing and fees. Service and access and all those things are important too. But we have a partnership with them, and they offer all of our investors they waive the onboarding fees and they give preferred pricing. Even if you're not investing with us, we're happy to help you get that set up. I don't receive anything for people setting up an account with the Entrust Group. It's just a great relationship that we've developed, and we know that they take good care of our investors and our customers and our friends that we refer to them. So if you're interested in that, you just reach out to us one way or another, let us know, and we'd be happy to help facilitate getting that set up for you. So hopefully this was helpful to you guys. I know it's a very specific audience, very specific product, but I wanted to make it something that we talked about because it is a powerful vehicle, not only for creating wealth, but for helping people get started in real estate that maybe don't have access to capital to get started out to begin with. Guys, if you can, like I mentioned before, like, follow, comment, help me get the word out. We want to continue to build this and provide as much value as we can, help as many people as possible build wealth for future generations, and that's what we're here to do. We'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks so much.